What's going on, everyone? Kyrie to the Lakers is a tale as old as time. Kyrie and LeBron reuniting, the love story that we all hope and love. And this offseason, it may be a real possibility, right? There was so much traction, so many rumors. There were several moments where it felt like Kyrie was really about to go to the Lakers. Ultimately, he ends up staying. Kevin Durant ends up staying, and then they ride the season. Kyrie has a bit of turmoil with the Brooklyn Nets, and so far they've been able to kind of put their differences aside, and they've been one of the best teams in the league ever since the Steve Nash firing. They're top 5 in offense, top 10 in defense, and just really seem to have turned it around. But this season also does kind of feel like this is it for Kyrie and the Brooklyn Nets. Now, maybe if they have some major success in the playoffs, like say they make it to the finals, or they win the finals, or they lose in a tough 7, and it just feels like, man, we were right there, let's try it again. Maybe Kyrie gets that extension, especially if he can kind of, if him and the Nets can play nice between now and then, maybe they kind of work something out, maybe a shorter term deal. The Nets could also give Kyrie more money than he could anywhere else. So we'll have to see where that front goes. Now, I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility that Kyrie does come to the Lakers in the offseason. We do know that the Lakers are kind of going big game hunting, and it kind of seems like the Lakers don't want to make any moves or improvements unless it is somebody like a Kyrie or, you heard Zach LaVine, DeMar DeRozan, like all of these, sort of big name, more marquee level players. And look, Kyrie and LeBron reuniting to be a great story. Kyrie, LeBron, and Anthony Davis, those three can stay healthy. They're probably winning a championship together, even if they had the team that is currently constructed. That's just so much talent and just a seamless fit in so many ways with those guys. LeBron can kind of play the point in many ways, kind of let Kyrie be a primary scorer, guy who can play on the ball, off the ball, all of those things. And then also you have Anthony Davis. If he's playing the way that we know he's capable of playing, then you're talking arguably the best player on the planet added to Kyrie and LeBron, and LeBron's playing the way he's been playing. If he can continue that into year 21, which would just be remarkable, but it's not out of the realm of possibility, then you'd have a legit contender. But here's the problem, is that there's no guarantee, one, that Kyrie comes to the Lakers. One, you have Kyrie, is he willing to take that pay cut to go to the Lakers? He would have to take a significant pay cut to go to LA. He's lost a lot of money over the years, through the whole, COVID incident and things like that, as well as getting, suspended this season. So is he looking to kind of make that money back up, or is he kind of looking at the Brooklyn Nets as like, hey, this is a team that'll throw me under the bus at any minute. At least if I go to the Lakers, I know I'll be appreciated. I'll have LeBron, maybe go compete for a championship, kind of be in a place when LeBron leaves, and this is kind of me and AD. We got this, that kind of thing. He could be looking at it like that. But Brooklyn is obviously a destination he could stay at. I mean, it's home for him, especially if KD ends up wanting to stay. Like him and KD went there together. So I think a lot of it would come down to KD. I imagine Kyrie and KD are going to have a conversation. But outside of the Brooklyn Nets, there's a lot of questions like, is there any other teams that would sign Kyrie? Now, there's a lot of young teams with cap space, right? Not a lot of contenders with cap space, and not a lot of teams that would really be willing to take the chance on Kyrie. Kyrie is an amazing talent, but there is baggage that comes with Kyrie. And so how many teams are really interested in Kyrie, right? We saw in the offseason, no teams wanted to touch him. So is that going to be the case in this offseason, especially with all the drama that went on during the season? Well, one team that has been heavily rumored lately to possibly be a destination for Kyrie Irving, who does have a lot of money and is kind of interesting, is the Houston Rockets. Kyrie and the Houston Rockets are a very interesting pairing, right? Now, Houston has a ton of young talent and is a very promising team moving forward. They'll also have a ton of cap space. They could sign Kyrie Irving and several other pieces to really put around their young core and just kind of move the ball going forward. Also, Houston, based on kind of the rumors and everything going around, it looks like they're looking for a more veteran-led star. You got James Harden, per a Shams report, that is kind of linked to the Houston Rockets, and that can make a lot of sense, right? James Harden goes to a young Houston team and kind of tries to be the glue guy that could maybe have them be in contention with a bunch of young talent. You could kind of look at maybe Kyrie doing the same thing. They go get Kyrie, maybe go get another pairing. Maybe they could even entice Kevin Durant to come to Houston and get Kyrie and KD and keep a lot of their core young pieces. That is definitely a huge possibility as well. So Houston could be an interesting landing spot for many of these upcoming potential stars that are available, and Kyrie Irving could fit that bill. Now, obviously, if James Harden wants to go there, I would guess that Houston would rather have James Harden back. And if James Harden does go to Houston, then that puts the end to Kyrie going to Houston, because James Harden, one of the big reasons he left Brooklyn was because of Kyrie and just the whole just controversy there. So if he goes to Houston, I don't see Kyrie going. But what this does, whether Kyrie goes to Houston or not, what this does is it highlights the potential of other suitors potentially wanting Kyrie Irving that would just have more money than the Lakers and would have better assets in a sign and trade deal. Because you got to keep in mind, if Kyrie walks, right, the Brooklyn Nets get nothing and they have nothing. Right? It's not like if Kyrie leaves, they all of a sudden have $30 million in cap space. No, they're still over the cap with Ben Simmons, Joe Harris, and Kevin Durant. So they'll have like zero cap space going forward to where they could replace Kyrie Irving. So if Kyrie does want to leave, whatever team he wants to go to, Brooklyn may try to look at some sort of sign and trade to get something back for Kyrie Irving, and the Houston Rockets could easily do that. Right? Like, and it's not like the Brooklyn Nets would have a ton of, bargaining power, right? It's not like the Brooklyn Nets would have like a ton of say, because Houston could just sign them outright. Like, hey, we'll give you, this. But if you don't want that, well, then too bad. We'll just sign them and you get nothing. Like, so why do we care? So that could be an interesting play there. And you can make the argument that, yeah, the Lakers would be in the same boat as well. Like, the Lakers could, say, hey, yeah, we'll give you X and you give us Kyrie. So it kind of goes both ways. But what it does is it highlights that there is no guarantee for a star, right? Is James Harden coming to the Lakers in the offseason? Probably not. Kyrie, I still believe that there's a real possibility that Kyrie could come. Like, I think Kyrie is the most likely out of everybody that is, been reported and rumored as far as like stars to come to the Lakers. I just think that because he's the one free agent that has been linked to the Lakers, that wants to go to the Lakers, that, would make sense for the Lakers. So I could see Kyrie going to the Lakers, and it kind of would make sense for Kyrie, kind of try to revamp his brand in LA. That could be really beneficial, right? He could probably get a new shoe deal or something like that, especially if he could show face. One of those big, Adidas or something will say, hey, we'll give you a contract. It's just how it works, right? So I imagine that Kyrie could look at LA as like, hey, like not only can I, I'll get a salary, I have a chance to win a championship, I get to reunite with LeBron again, but also it gives me a good opportunity to kind of revamp my brand and make the money that I would have made in Brooklyn, I can make in LA with a new shoe deal and new endorsements and new brands and stuff like that. So that's kind of the enticement that Kyrie would have to go to the Lakers. And he'd have LeBron James to kind of help and push that narrative. And maybe LeBron could talk to Nike and stuff like that. They could kind of work something out. It's not saying it would happen, but it's a possibility. But the fact that other suitors are there kind of shows like, look, the Lakers star chasing isn't the answer, right? Like, look, if Kyrie wants to come and you make a move, again, you could still probably get Kyrie because the Brooklyn Nets are going to want something, right? The Brooklyn Nets aren't going to want to just watch Kyrie walk out the door for nothing. So if you did do a deal, say you did go and you did, let's say the Pacers deal, right? And you got Buddy Hield and Miles Turner. Well, maybe you could do something with like a Miles Turner and, a Walker, like, sign a double-sided trade. Boom. Like, there you go. Now you get Kyrie, you get Walker. Like, it's a win-win, right? Maybe you work something like that out. Again, just throwing stuff out there. I'm not saying that any like that would work. It also depends on how much you sign Miles Turner for, or extend him for if you were to do that trade. So it just, maybe you can make it work, is my point, right? And hey, here's something, we'll take Kyrie and everyone's happy. It's all is right in the world. But outside of that, like, the Lakers going after Levine or DeMar or whatever, like, you still fall into the same trap in the same boat. And I understand like star hunting, big game hunting is like the Lakers MO, right? The Lakers love to star chase, and more times than not, they do land their guy. But right now, it doesn't look like this team needs a star. It looks like this team needs consistent depth, starting level talent, and there's not really anything in the offseason, right? I'm not saying make a trade just to make a trade, right? I'm not saying just do a deal just to do a deal, justify doing a deal. No, if you're going to do a deal, it has to make sense. But I do want to see, and I do hope, I don't know, again, what's going on behind the scenes. None of us do. None of us know what Rob Pelinka is actually doing and talking about and having these conversations. Like, none of us are in the war room with him going through the day-to-days, right? Going through the dailies, right? So who knows what Rob Pelinka is doing? But I hope that Rob Pelinka is doing his due diligence to actually try to find a real trade. Because if you could do like a Hornets deal or something like that, then, that just gives you the starting level talent. So now guys fall back into a role. You're going to get more production in general than you would with the star, because you're going to have more depth and you're going to have more consistency and you're going to have things. And even if AD goes down, if you have enough pieces and depth, you're still going to be a really good team. Look at like a team like the Clippers, right? Like Kawhi Leonard's injured more than AD is. Paul George is injured more than, or is probably injured as much as AD. And yet the Clippers are able to keep consistently staying in the playoff hunt, even without their stars. And when their stars are playing, they win more than they lose. And so therefore, they're in the playoff hunt. And it's because they have the depth to weather the storm when their stars aren't out. The Lakers don't have that, right? And LeBron is only getting older. And I understand, like, like we need a star for when LeBron leaves. When LeBron leaves, you probably still have AD. You'll have cap space. You could probably go get another star. It's LA. As much as people like to say, like, oh, LA's done, stars, blah, 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 blah. Like, it's Los Angeles. That people have been saying that since the 70s, that the Lakers are never going to get another. And guess what happens? Every couple years, the Lakers land another star. It's just how it happens, because it is La La Land. It is the Lakers. But I'm not saying, but they don't need the star right now. Make a push right now for the pieces around LeBron James and Anthony Davis to go win a championship. Also, you'd probably have a more healthy AD if AD didn't have to do so much covering for everybody else, right? Like, the 1 year AD was healthy and only missed like 9 games, we were the best team in the league and we won a championship, but it's because we had so much depth, right? I mean, we were like 52-0 or something crazy like that in the fourth quarter with the lead. And AD didn't have to do that much. He had games where he had like 2 points in the fourth quarter. It's because you had so much contribution from everybody else, right? So AD was able to be healthier. And that's what we need. We need the depth. We need to go and get deals that give us 2, 3, 4 rotation guys. A Spurs deal, a Hornets deal, the Pacers deal, I'm still not very big on. And that deal may or may not be a possibility anymore, right? Miles Turner's working on a new contract with the Indiana Pacers. And if he does sign a new deal, well, then there goes that. But if he doesn't, then that could make the Lakers in play again. And maybe the Lakers could get for a cheaper price, because now it's like, hey, look, like now Miles Turner is leaving. So what do you want to do? Do you want to get something, or do you want to just let him go and get nothing, right? So that could open up negotiation powers. But my point is, regardless, at the end of the day, like the Lakers have this pie in the sky based on all these reports of like getting another star and maybe riding it out, and Kyrie's going to come in on a white horse and save the day. But in reality, that might not be the case, right? Like it just shows that Houston, although there were talks about him going to Houston and various other, and Dallas and stuff like that, and they all said no, they don't want him. So I don't think Kyrie to Houston makes sense. I really don't, right? I mean, they have a lot of guard depth. I just think Kyrie, unless Houston's planning on making another trade, like a trade to kind of put like a more veteran, or maybe go after another star and kind of try to like jumpstart this turnaround, then I don't see Kyrie going to Houston. I don't think it makes sense for Kyrie. I don't think it makes sense for Houston. But what it does is it opens up the door for potential suitors, and it shows that like, hey, Kyrie may not be here when you want him to be or when you need him to be. So do what you can do now rather than waiting and nothing develops later on down the road. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion, so I pass the question on to you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments section below. What do you think? Do you agree that, like, yes, go do a deal, go get the pieces, go get the depth that we need? If Kyrie or somebody else wants to come, figure it out in the offseason. Sign and trade, whatever you got to do, but figure it out in the offseason. Or are you a team that's like, are you on the side of like, no, like, wait, try to go get a star. We need a star to take off the pressure of AD and LeBron, or what do you think? However you feel, whatever your thoughts are, I'd love to hear them. Let me know down in the comment section below.